Hey everybody, it's me, John. Joined by.
Me, Joe.
Thank you
And me,
guys.
David in the background.
Hooray, David in the background.
Yes, hooray, David.
It's been a couple days since, and by a couple days I mean a couple weeks since I've been here. So sorry about that. I was getting a little vacation time in. But I'm happy to be back. I like painting, so I'm all about that life. So, as you guys are watching me paint, hopefully you all have some questions, or if you want to talk about anything, just shoot me a message. I have my cell phone up. I'm watching the chat, so I can better talk to y'all. So yeah, just I'd love to hear what people are working on. I am working on this Soul Slave for Gatorman. It's a model I've used a bunch, but I started painting him, and I did the white primer on him, and unfortunately it didn't really kind of come out the way I wanted it to. So I got a little discouraged, and I stopped painting him. But I use this little guy so much that I want to make sure he's done. So I am. Thank you, Kurt. So, I just want to get this nice little model down. I'm currently doing kind of a bone colored glaze to reinforce a lot of the bone areas I've used before. So, because I kind of was a little aggressive on a wash on them, and it really kind of made the skulls and things like that he's carrying around with him super muddy. So I'm hopefully doing some thin layers of glaze of this metal with white highlight / sickly skin mixture to bring things in line with how I want it. Now, unfortunately, it was a little too much in certain areas, and that'll be fine for the shadow, but it doesn't necessarily. I went too dark and the glaze is a little too light, so it's going to take several applications to kind of bring it to the stage that I want. I'm excited to see you, Red Orcs, and I am excited for Monsterpocalypse at Gen Con. I am going to be checking out all that new Monpoc stuff, and I can't wait to have some models here to do for the paint stream.
And I can just see it now that if they have any dinosaurs whatsoever, you're just
yeah. So the dinosaur faction's coming out later. We don't have a release schedule for that, but based on how it's going, it looks like the dinosaurs might be November.
Okay. And do we know what type of dinosaurs? T-Rex, I'm assuming.
So yeah, Terra Khan is the leader of the dinosaur factions, and he is very much based on a theropod. So he's going to be your bipedal with the claws and all that sort of good stuff. Hey Ross, hey Justin. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to the Brugage, and I'm going to be picking up one for myself, and that'll probably be the paint stream after Gen Con.
Well, anyway, I just picked up a warband for
Shadespire,
Shadespire.
Right? Yeah.
I got the Dwarves, the Fire Axe, or the Chosen Axe, the Fire.
Yeah, and you said
not barbarians, but
you got them together more or less.
Oh yeah, I put them together. I haven't primed them yet to paint them because I'm still I just got them, but. Yeah. I also got the leader deck yesterday. So,
oh, good.
Yeah, so I'm just gonna try to go home and build my deck and.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I know that we have some Shadespire games here, people playing on Mondays. So I'm gonna try to see if anybody would like to play.
Yeah, no, we have a great Shadespire community here, and I think you'll find a lot of people willing to help you out. Yeah. Something we always stress a lot is making sure you build the community, and that means even if it's a store employee, taking the time to teach someone the ropes so they get excited about a game and they want to stay in it.
Yeah. But the biggest news we have is the Kill Team box set we just got in, the core set.
Yeah, so that releases Saturday,
Okay.
and we haven't gotten our full shipment yet because of the release date. But
Okay.
we did get our demo set, so we kind of know what's going on for it. So Kurt, what I heard from Games Workshop was they weren't planning on Kill Team to do as well, or sorry, not Kill Team, Shadespire to do as well as it did, and they didn't really have a lot of follow-up plans after the last expansion that we just had, the Mulgor's Fiends plus the Vanguard Raptors. But they are feverishly working on something new for it. So I wouldn't expect anything new from Shadespire unless it's like changing the Banshees and some of the other like Snapfit stuff into kill teams, or not kill teams, Shadespire teams. That might happen sooner than later, but like brand new stuff, I wouldn't expect until the new year.
Now I know we got some. What we do have is we have some specific dice sets. I got one of those, like a dice set for the Chosen Actors Orange. We got one for each warband, and we also got new play mats that have kind of like traps and such, so that if you push an opponent back, they are pushed into a kind of a trap or a like as a bad spot on the board.
Yes.
So we got those boards in, and that they retail for 25 each, and we also got a leader deck. Are those new, or have they been?
No, those are new.
Okay, yeah, we have that retails for 18. So if you're interested in adding new new objectives, new leader upgrades, and new weapons, you can come and pick those up. So,
Yeah,
and
all that good stuff.
oh yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, I'm working on the Soul Slave today. He is probably one of my most used pieces that I don't have painted, and I feel really bad about it because I try to have everything like 100% painted for my lists. So I'm taking the time to hopefully knock him out today, so when I do get new stuff, I can move straight to the new stuff and not have to worry about old things that I still have on my paint table.
Do you have any any new things on the list that you're looking forward to?
So they unveiled a bunch of stuff that's coming out for Privateer Press in the next year or so, but nothing for Minions. Minions aren't on the release schedule yet, so we are kind of hoping that they show off something new, but that probably won't be until like Adepticon or War Machine Weekend, which is pretty far away. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff I'm looking forward to. The nice thing is like Monpoc's coming out soon, so I'm trying to get all my stuff, like all my Minion stuff done that I want to get done before Monpoc hits the floor. Because I'm going to be wanting to paint a lot of Monpoc.
Oh, actually, John's right here. He's
And so I think Monpoc's going to take a lot of my painting time because it's a whole new game, and it's like nice when, like the War Machine stuff, like you have a little bit of each faction that pops out every once in a while. But Monpoc's a whole new game, so there's like whole armies that I'm going to have to paint. So I need to get my like painting chomps ready, and I also need to figure out how I'm going to paint stuff, like what quality I'm going to take in terms of painting. Because a lot of times it's really, really easy for me to say, I'm going to do my best work on every single piece, but the issue that comes in then is, oh hey, I can't take 15 hours for a tank, right? Like, I got too many tanks to paint, not enough time. So it's important to balance that out and kind of figure out how you want to do something. I'm going to make a little bit of a wash with some Gravedigger Denim, some Umbral Umber, and a little bit of that Menoth White base that I've been working with, so it's not too contrasty.
Now, if you guys are wondering what John is using, he's using a paint handle that what was his company?
Citadel. It's Games Workshop. Yeah.
Oh yeah. We have a mini in stock.
Yep.
that retail for $8. So that is very useful. I actually tried one of those.
Yeah, no, they are really great.
Yeah.
I can't tell you guys how much time that saved me.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I saw it. It's like it's really nice because you can do a 3D thing, and it just, and because you don't actually paint underneath the base, well, you can if you wanted to, but in general, you can just put it in and just. Now, how much does it adjust to?
It can fit up to a 40 millimeter, whether that's Games Workshop or Privateer Press.
All right, yeah.
So it's pretty good.
And we have lots of stock in there. Oh, there it is, 40. So.
Yeah. Oh, thanks, Max. These hands were made for holding. Just let you know. So I'm coming in with this wash that I made, and it's a mix of the Menoth White base, Hammerfall Khaki, not Hammerfall Khaki, sorry, Gravedigger Denim, and Umbral Umber. And so it's a nice kind of cool mid-tone brown, and it's really going to do a nice transition and really kind of hopefully tie a lot of stuff together. Now, I'm mainly using this for separation of detail, so I'm specifically targeting where the skulls are going to be meeting another material or where shadow would fall, and I'm trying to be neat as possible because you don't want to, like what I just had to do, which was come back and kind of fix everything. So I am doing my best to keep this all towards the back of skulls, where the temporalis kind of goes. Temporalis is that like little divot you have in the side of your head that holds some muscles that control your jaw movement a little bit. So maybe you learned something today. Also, Max, why aren't you here playing? We got some press gangers in for you.
Also, for War Machine, we got a new faction, right?
The Crucible Guard.
Yeah. How long have we had that?
So Crucible Guard officially dropped a week or two ago.
Okay, cool.
And they are all the crazy mad scientists of Lael. And they are an incredibly fun faction that lives on modularity. So like they're all about kind of picking and choosing how they attack something, which is really cool. So like you're never really locked into one game plan.
And I also like the color scheme. They are teal, kind of brownish, gold, orange, golden color.
Yeah, so they did the studio between Nate FEMA, I believe is his name, and Dallas Kemp.
Yeah.
There might be some other people, I think Brendan Roy, and a lot of other people involved on deciding on that color scheme, but they really did a phenomenal job.
I explained to Joe yesterday, it's called the Gift of the Gab. It's where you can like and
So, yeah, they're actually in a teal box over there because in the War Machine section. But
I'm still like, man, I'm always 2 seconds away from just picking up Crucible Guard. They look so cool, but I need to finish, like once again, like with Monpa coming out, I need to finish the armies that I have.
Oh yeah.
Before I finish out the next or begin the next one.
It's a good rule to have for yourself. Like keep yourself in check.
Yeah. So you want to make sure that you are keeping your hobby space. And I know for a fact my girlfriend appreciates me not bringing home every single army that we carry at Gigabytes. As much as I would like it to be the other way.
Yeah. Well.
So.
Now, when it comes to Kill Team, coming out Saturday, we're gonna have some of the community. We're gonna demo.
Yeah, so we actually have guys here now, and they're using a lot of the rules that were released in advance. Oh, sorry, off the stream. They're using a bunch of rules that were released in advance to make some kill teams. Okay. So we kind of already know what the point costs are. We even have like a store copy, and they are in the process of building new armies and such like that. So so they can play right at the get-go.
Okay.
So our Kill Team League starts pretty soon, and that'll be really good.
Now that's now the doing what is it? I'm doing Thursday, right? Or is it?
I believe Kill Teams will be on Thursdays, but we might have a weekday meetup. It just
Alright.
kind of depends.
All right, cool.
Yeah.
So
So
it seems exciting. I know that Caspian told a story about how and he was really excited about it. He had a chance to
yeah,
play it.
it's a really so. Kill Team is a great format for people who don't maybe have enough time to play, regular 40K,
okay.
and it's something that it's really great from Games Workshop, who can make this kind of like a bridge game to where, okay, yeah, sure, maybe you don't have enough time to play full on 40K, but you want to embrace that universe. Kill Team's the one for you.
So what's the max limit time-wise for Kill Team?
So take this with a grain of salt because we haven't really had a chance to play it yet. But they are predicting anywhere from 45 minutes to an hour to play a regular game, and it could be less than that. It just kind of depends on who's playing and how versed they are in the rules.
Okay. It seems like the time frame seems to be right up my alley because I enjoy games that are within an hour and a half. 2 is like for me. 2 is about pushing it for what I'm comfortable
Yeah,
with.
and that's true for a lot of people. A lot of people, especially as a lot of gamers get older, they're going to have more responsibilities, family,
Yeah.
all that sort of stuff, and they can't just say, okay, I'm going to spend all afternoon at Gigabytes, as much as we would love them to.
Oh yeah. No problem here.
But they will say, okay, well, I can be out for basically an hour or so. And once you factor in setup time and all that sort of stuff, that's basically a Kill Team game.
Oh yeah,
So-
absolutely. And that's one of the reasons I like about Sage Spy. Another thing I like about Sage Spy is just the simplicity of the movement and the simplicity of all the actions and what you do on the actions.
Absolutely.
And the hit and the dice rolling. I really enjoy that. With Warhammer, there's so much information we need to keep track of. And I'm sure I can do it over time. It's just like,
Yeah, and so Shadespire will always be the closest thing to a board game for miniatures players.
I'm wondering if they're going to do something like that for 40K.
Well, that's what Kill Team is. Kill
Is
Team's
it?
very close to that.
Oh, is it?
Now, it doesn't have as much of the board game element as Shadespire is, but
So I'll have to have a chance to sit down and actually play it. So
Yeah.
now, can I bring in some Space Marines I have into Kill Team?
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay.
So the only models that aren't really allowed currently in Kill Team are the Custodes and the Imperial Knights.
Okay.
And that's just because, power scale and all that sort of stuff, it's hard to justify why those guys would be at that small of a level, right? Like,
And I'm assuming vehicles not allowed either.
yeah. So each faction, there's 14 factions, and they have approved units that they can bring in.
Okay.
And so Dark Angels can bring Space Marines.
Okay.
So they can bring Space Marines, and I think they might have one other option, but it might just be all the Dark Angel stuff.
I'm gonna have to go over there and talk to Mackenzie, see if she'll hear that teach me.
There's a frog on stream, so whenever I'm off camera, you can look at the frog.
Alright.
But yeah, so it's one of those things. Yeah, they don't have Inquisition or Sisters of Battle either. Ross is 100% right. And once again, it's all the armies that they have a hard time justifying why they would be at that point level. So, it makes sense in a certain fashion. I did get some chipping
Did you?
on the metal. Nope, that's a shame. All right, that's something I can fix. Fix it in post.
We'll do it live.
So,
Do it live.
yeah, there's only a couple things that aren't in Kill Team, but to me it's very minor. And a lot of times, if you are a die-hard Inquisition player, you can find proxy rules and things like that to make sure that you can kind of play the army how you want to play it.
I'm gonna have to buy some of those paints to get my army going. 'Cause
Oh,
I
absolutely.
do have a color scheme I'm looking for, and I think the way the Kill Team poster they have 3 Marines. Oh, I think 4, 3 or 4. That's black and red. I think that I could,
Yeah, and that's a good color scheme for Dark Angels. They usually have dark colors and
Yeah.
such.
So okay. But how many units are allowed on the board in Kill Team?
It's models, not units.
Models. Oh,
So
that's right.
so you can I think you can have as low as 3,
Okay.
and then I think 20 is the cap.
Oh, 20 units.
20 models.
20 models. Okay.
Yes, that's it.
Alright.
So it's not much, and I think Space Marines can only probably get to 5 to 10. So
Okay.
like a box of Dark Angel should be as much as you need.
All right. Well, that might actually be up my alley when it comes
Yeah.
to
Yeah, it's
points to
100
start.
points to start. So
Okay.
it's a very easy system to get going. And then there's like campaigns where you start at 100 points, but then you can start like building and adding stuff, and it's really cool.
Okay. So, all right, cool. So I'm gonna have to when I get my Marines built and ready to go and ready
Yeah.
to paint. So
Absolutely. All right, guys, I am hopefully done with that wash. We'll find out. Usually, whenever I like say I move on to the next step, like I immediately find an area where I need to come back.
awesome, Vicky.
Yeah. Ricky's here. So if you're interested, go up to Ricky and ask him. I think he's running demos of it today, but never hurts to ask.
Okay. Actually, I'll be right back. So I got to go
Okay.
ask.
Yeah, so I'm coming back with yet another glaze. This time it's Menoth White Highlight and Sickly Skin. I add a little bit of that Sickly Skin in there to make it a little cooler, so the bones seem a little bit more on the dead side. So, yeah. And this may not be like super apparent on the camera, but it's a very light glaze, and it's designed to hopefully soften some transitions and bring a little bit more contrast, especially when you compare it to the skin itself. Skin's going to be a little bit on the mid-tone side, so I want to make sure that these like skulls and all that read very white. And his cloth, his little like I don't know what the proper term is, but basically like his little kilt or skirt that he's got on is going to be a bit darker, and that's hopefully going to really kind of complete the appearance of the model, because I want to make sure that he reads. He's got everything in there. So he's got the high transitions, where he's got like whites, mediums, and darks all together. So yeah. It's always important, color theory with your models. You want to be able to use different tones to not only complete a color scheme that you want, but also make it visually appealing to look at. So you never want to have a model that's just like all darks. You want to make sure that he's got a mix of some light colors and mid-tone colors to make sure that those darks read dark and the brights read bright. So yeah. I really enjoy this model. This model is such a challenge to me. He has got so much detail just all around him. It's honestly, it's daunting, but once he's done, he's going to look phenomenal. And I'm also really excited because he fits into like 90% of my lists. So I'm going to be able to get this like nice paint scheme that I like, and then get to play with him all the time. So yeah. Yeah, Ross, Joe's already ran off to talk to Ricky. Ricky's here today, so. So, this bone color, it's just a nice subtle one. It's going to keep building. Scott, I saw that you joined. Mr. Lada, are you going to Gen Con? Am I going to get to see you there? Oh yeah, well it's not a mask. That's actually his skull. He is a Gator Man who was defeated by a rival and then zombified and forced into service of the guy who killed him. Gatorman is definitely a society of eat or be eaten, and this guy's kind of like the epitome of it. You know, make sure you choose your enemies wisely, or they'll make a meal out of you. So, yeah. I will always ask. Yeah, so Gatormen are the Horde's necromancers. So they are about zombifying and subjugating those around them. And what I necessarily like is that Gatormen, like good villains, don't view themselves as bad guys, right? Like, this is all very much part of their culture. You know, they are going to say, hey, you either eat someone or be okay being eaten, right? Like, there's not really like a oh man, that wasn't fair kind of moment in Gatorman. Everything's on the books, everything's possible. So don't get taken advantage, be cunning, be clever. Subjugate those around you. So So, I'm going to take a break on the bone section because I kind of got it where I wanted it. But I am going to start on the cloth. And what I will do is, excuse me, not facing the camera. I'm going to mix a little bit of Sanguine base. Actually, no, it's just going to be straight Sanguine base. I'm just going to make sure it's thin enough to be applied evenly on his little cloak part. And this might take 2 coats because it's Sanguine going over a white. So expect multiple coats because you guys can see too close to the light. I'll keep doing it more. It's going on very, very thin, which is a-okay. Because what that will do, it'll let us apply it like this, and then we can start applying some washes to it, and it should give us a really cool effect. But you want to make sure that it's thin and even. And you load up your brush with enough paint to where you can do enough of a pass or a patch without making it super streaky. So, and like this paint is thin enough to where on white it's almost going to behave kind of like a wash. And once again, that's okay. It is in all honesty, what we're kind of looking for, you're going to just keep coming back and strengthening it. And it's okay if you like nick a bone or do whatever with it. You will tidy up everything once you're done with this step. And I'll transition over to a smaller brush once I get a nice even base coat down. And I need to come in to grab those details. So one of the challenges with white is going to be making sure you get good coverage. Especially when you have thinner paints, you want to make sure that you're going into all the cracks and crevices, making sure the paint gets in there and you're not having like a bunch of white showing through. So yeah, since I got a little bit of green on the skirt, it will require me to do a couple of coats to make it even and cover up that green. So, and that won't be much of an issue because you paint, let it dry, come back, do it again.
Second of all, this is the last time they can do that legally before they become subject to investigation. I fixing the things that you're that like so they're doing malpractice, and I was like, I sent them the news.
So yeah, those of you in the know will know that sanguine base is one of my favorite colors. So Chris, I prefer zenithal priming. The reason why this guy was primed white is because I got him at War Machine Weekend and I tried painting him up while I was there, and the only primer I had with me was white. Especially for Gatormen, I generally like to prime darker because their skin tone is darker and there's more skin tone prevalent. The nice thing about priming him white is when I come in to do the flame effects, it won't be as challenging because I already got that like white base color on it.
So I set up a time for me to learn Coteam next Thursday.
Oh, good.
So I'm bringing my Space Marines to get everything set up. So
Yeah, that'll be great.
oh yeah, so gonna start learning that and see what happens. Yeah, 45 to an hour seems it's about my alley.
Yeah. Well, fantastic.
Yeah.
All right, so I did the first pass of it. Now I'm going to come in with a smaller brush and start doing details, like things are closer to there. Yeah. So generally, like if I had to do this guy again, I would prime black and definitely do a zenithal where the like especially towards the top where the flames are at, and that would make my life a whole lot easier. But you know, I like a good challenge, and this definitely represents that. So I love me some sanguine base. Oh boy, what a good color. If I could ever meet the guy who was like, yeah, I made the sanguine base formula, I'd give him a high five. So yeah, now since it's my second pass, the sanguine base is going on a little bit better. So I need to go ahead and start managing how and where I apply it. So I want to start making sure that the crevices and all that are getting it. Share what with you? I'm happy to share all of my secrets with anyone. speaking of sharing secrets, we do have painting classes here at Gigabytes now. I currently don't run one, but I might do a flame effect one at some point in the near future. Simply because I've studied flame effects a lot, and with Gatormen and their love of candles and flames, I have to paint it frequently. Yeah, Sanguine Base. Sanguine Base, that color, so good. So good. I want to take a little bit of Sanguine Base and little Sanguine Base. I'm actually going to add some red ink to it. That's blazing ink. That's Sanguine Base plus a drop or two of red ink. I'm going to use this to treat the interior of the like torn damage and around it. So something I love about this like red ink is that it goes on so well to these like little like wound areas and just really makes it irritated and gross and yeah. So, and the big thing with like using this stuff is making sure you're not going too strong and you want to blend it out because you want to make the area look irritated but not like sopping wet with gore, which is not my personal taste. So I usually put a little bit on and then I'll kind of feather it out through some brushwork. But it does miles for like stuff, and it works really well if you're doing like Nurgle stuff or anything like that. So yeah. And the red ink will dry a little bit on the glossy side if you're using just red ink, which is why I kind of like to add a little bit of like another color to it, like Sanguine Base. Umbral Umber works great as well. But yeah, it's all good in the hood. So yeah. Chris Velez, I can't wait to see you again. I feel like I only run into you when we're at cons.
So, are you looking? There's a specific thing you're looking forward to at Gen Con?
Honestly, I haven't been to Gen Con in a couple of years.
Okay.
So I'm kind of looking forward to the whole experience of it. But I would probably say the most exciting thing is getting a little bit of a vacation and hanging out with my nerd friends doing nerd things.
Awesome. Now you're gonna meet Caspian up there, right?
Yeah. John will be up there,
All right.
and we will be gigabitsing it up.
All right.
I know he's probably got a little bit different of a schedule than me, but I know our paths will cross, and we will do some broing out. Yeah, trust me, I know how life can be super busy and not fun, or just super busy and fun. But if you ever get a free weekend, let me know in advance. I'll make the time to come out and hang out with you. We got the Journeyman League starting soon too, if you ever wanted to get some small baby games in. Oh my god, did I think this thing was bone the entire time, but it was actually just part of the cloth? That seems like a thing I would do.
Uh-oh. What? No.
What are you knowing about?
The fact that it's like a bone or a cloth.
Yeah. And that's something that's nice about, like, painting one guy at a time, is you can figure out your mistakes a little bit. So I'm taking the Sanguine base. I kind of started the mouth already. I did a little bit of a base with this mix of Rinflesh and Carnal pink. And so now I'm taking just pretty much straight Sanguine based wash and applying that in the mouth. I don't want to use the red ink mix because I don't want the mouth to appear like it's been damaged. I just want to give a little bit of definition to like the tongue and the jaw. So make sure your paint's nice and thin so it flows okay. And we're going to let that kind of sit and dry up as I apply a little bit more to the skirt thing. Like I said, the skirt thing's going to take some time. It's just going to be a lot of smaller layers applied over and over so I can get that full coverage I want. I think the phrase Rome wasn't built in a day is a good one for doing certain steps, especially when you are doing a dark shade over a lighter prime. So yeah.
It's about to go on top. There you go.
No, it's fine. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah, no, it's true. Rome wasn't built in a day, but how long did it take to destroy it?
Several generations of mismanagement, right?
Okay, well what about that? What about the most famous barbarians coming in and wrecking it? Was that like...
I think that was like a ruckus weekend.
Okay, weekend. Ha!
Yeah.
So 2 days. So 2 days. It wasn't built in a day, but it was destroyed in 2.
Yeah. That adds up to me. I don't know about anyone else.
So
I'm no historian though.
who is, except for the historians?
David's pretty good at history.
Oh, nice. So what do you...
So yeah. Guys, I will probably not be here next week. I'll try to find a sub of someone to sit in for this paint so you guys can get your painting fix. I don't want to leave you a couple weeks out without anything to watch. So I'll try to get like Sean or Mark or maybe someone else, maybe Brandon or I'll see if there's some of my other painting friends that can come in and do a stream.
And another consistent here is me.
Yeah, and obviously Joe. Joe will hopefully be like riding a high of playing Kill Team.
Kill Team, yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to clock out because a very handsome man just walked in and I need to do some things to him. Goodbye. Goodbye, everybody.